You are listening to Sound Out Radio. And I am Dr. Ergo Phizmiz. And who is this?
I'm Depresstival or Lottie or the new remote hybridized historical Delphi.
Today, I am determined to have fun because, yes, everything is horrible, and we will, of course. Well, we don't live oblivious to the dreadful things that are happening on this planet, from Palestine to Lebanon to race riots to Iran to the Epstein files and the
climate change.
Yeah, the Epstein files. The discovery that pretty much everyone in a powerful position appears to be either a baby eater or a friend of a baby eater, cannibal, pedophiles, and everyone seems to think that's a perfectly normal thing and we can all just get on with our lives, and it's got nothing to do with us. Turning a blind eye has really taken on a whole new meaning. But I don't want to talk at length today about how horrible the world is, because what we also need to be doing is trying to imagine the new world and new ways of looking at history, like, for example, which I will come to later in the program, tracing a line through history of snappy music. And yes, that is possible to do. We'll probably talk about this machine learning thing that they call artificial intelligence at some point as well, because, you know, given 2 hours, the chances of me not doing, say, a rap or a beat poem or, you know, who knows what, they're pretty remote. We just had a Sound Art Radio represent, and I can say that kind of thing because I'm a hip-hop MC now. In our house here in Shipton Abbott, didn't we? Alice was here checking our passports and that, and now we've been proven that we're not criminals. So that's nice to know. But anyway, if we were criminals...
the definition is always changing, isn't it? So, like, you know, like, at least I've got a certificate now to say that at this point I was not a criminal.
Yeah. I've had certificates before, but my certificates are expired. When I've had teaching jobs, I've had to get certificates of not being a criminal. But now, on legal fully basis, in the year 2026, Dr. Ergo Phizmiz and Lottie Depresstival Bowater are not criminals.
I mean, it's a great feeling.
It's a great feeling.
I know for definite now. Mm-hmm. I was unsure before because of various bits of rhetoric flying around. Yeah,
it is. It's difficult to be
difficult,
certain.
Isn't it?
Because the law's always changing.
Yeah,
I mean,
because like certain things that are all right now, i.e., like, you know, why don't you not sort of like kill people, like that were all right in like the 90s and around the time of like the Iraq invasion.
It was definitely illegal to kill people back then, wasn't it?
They would say it was like
usually bad. Killing children, that was bad, wasn't it?
Like unanimously bad.
Yeah,
and now it's like I think it's like they've made it illegal to say that you can't like kill, that you shouldn't kill children. That's the feeling I'm getting as an outsider.
They have made it illegal in this country to say that you should not kill children.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? Apparently, that's violent rhetoric.
But given that the people in power are in the Epstein files as cannibals and paedophiles, one is not so surprised then by this newfangled trend of it's sometimes all right to kill children. Now, speaking of which, we are currently trying to help evacuate 2 brilliant Palestinian musicians from the Gaza Strip. Sami Madoun, you'll be amazed and delighted and full of wonderment to know, through nothing to do with us, was evacuated and is in Italy now, which is remarkable
music.
and wonderful. He's studying music. So if you might be interested in helping with anything in this regard, do get in touch with us. avantgardecollective@gmail.com. So, I suppose we need to touch briefly upon the prevalent subject this week, which is the race riots, and everybody saying that people from other countries with different skin colours are responsible for the things that are wrong in society. Hey, you know who's responsible for the things that are wrong in society, and that is rich people. And yes, usually, I'm afraid they're usually like, rich white people.
You know what I mean?
That's just my observation.
With everything else, like, okay, so if I was in, like, the room and I had a big hammer or something, and then, like, you know, I, like, got really drunk and blacked out, and then I woke up and I'd like angrily smashed up like all of the electrical sort of equipment made post a particular time that involves the word at, I would assume from the fact that I'm in control of the immediate space that I had probably been responsible for that, as it's the most likely option. Now, I would say that the most likely option for the people who are destroying society are the people who are physically destroying a lot of vast swathes of the planet and are in control of the entire society. I would say that it's really, really obvious that the people who are going to be making the society worse is probably the people who are running the society. But the thing is, of course, if you're one of these people that is sort of like go out, do a racist riot inclined, you already know this, and everybody already knows this. Everyone knows that what they're saying is complete rubbish, and I would prefer to be using much stronger language because it's more eloquent, but you know what I mean, let's all pretend that no one has any emotions and not allow anyone to express anything at all, because we all have to pretend that everything is fine and isn't Britain really, really great.
Yeah. So, as we've seen in Belfast, people are saying houses on fire, cars on fire, fire engines on fire. I saw, actually, I did see one very funny video from the Belfast riots, which was an aerial shot of a fire station, which I think, if I remember correctly, this fire station is on fire, right? Outside of it are some parked up fire engines. A couple of firemen standing around. Down in the bottom left corner of this aerial shot, it's a bunch of firemen having a fight.
Oh wow, really?
It's an amazing image.
Wow.
You know.
I mean, that's...
You've got to find the silver lining in these times. But again, I don't want to talk at length about because like to have this kind of racist attitude is stupid.
Yeah.
Let me put it this way to you: just because X person of X skin color or whatever did a bad thing doesn't mean that everybody who is the same like religion or ethnicity as that person is the same as him. Because if that were the case,
then everyone would be saying the same thing. Like there would be like one sort of like sentence going on at the same. You know
Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Dahmer, white guy with glasses, looks a bit like a sort of 80s office worker. Do we have to kill every white person because of Jeffrey Dahmer? No, of course. So, and you know, the people who are a lot of the people who were going around burning things down, I know now from experience of unfortunately talking to these people on the internet while they hurl just bile.
Generally quite sexualized all the time.
What was I talking about?
Well,
I got sidetracked by the bile.
It was going to end up at like they're really, really trying to be stupid.
Yes.
I kind of think, like, you know, stupidity is not. It's not. You know what I mean? It's a thing that you step into, basically.
Yeah.
It's a set of behaviours.
But why?
It's not like whether or not you've read every book about whatever. I mean, because, you know, Boris Johnson's read a lot of books. He's written books and stuff, and he is one of the stupidest people on the planet. So obviously, it's not about how many books you read. It's about whether or not you're willing to just. I personally think that stupidity is about whether or not you're willing to have no ideas of your own and just parrot some bit of rhetoric that you've heard in the ether. And I was reading a study.
Well, we know that 70% of humans don't have an interior monologue.
Yeah, but that's because they haven't activated it.
Yeah.
I think, like, but there's this thing, isn't there, that people are using ChatGPT and then they're saying that their internal monologue has awakened,
a new
and they're
epidemic.
talking to it. So is that actually?
But they're talking to their unconscious. They're unconscious, and they're unconscious. They've given the character of ChatGPT.
But I mean,
but that could be like
fine.
you were saying.
I think they're just cottoning on to their capabilities.
That could be a very
time.
positive byproduct of this thing. Is that maybe people who haven't used an interior monologue before suddenly the Mr. Robot, you know, the idea of Mr. Robot, the idea of something which will give you feedback, and you realise that something in your head is doing.
Because I think a lot of the if you think about it, we're coming to the end of a period of about sort of 20 years where they've been really cutting funding for humanities, libraries, music, art spaces, anything that involves people being able to go and sort of like think about things for free. It doesn't really get funded anymore. So I think maybe and the phone thing, it's really kind of keeping people in this like kind of cage of just constantly getting whatever emotional chemically response, like dopamine and stuff. I mean, I don't get dopamine from using technical equipment. It makes me want to like literally stab my eyes out, but apparently some people like it. So I think what's happened is like everybody's kind of neurology is just sort of like being geared towards looking at this like shiny screen thing, and I think that is switching off a lot of people's internal monologues, and they're forgetting how to use it. They don't teach art in schools anymore. They don't teach music. You're not allowed to do philosophy. Like everything that you do that isn't like immediately you can package it and sell it is like, oh, you're wasting your time. You're being immoral. Like putting this concept of like morality onto whether or not people are allowed to read a book and take some time out of whatever they have to do to read a story. And there's like, I've lived in many situations where if I've been reading, someone comes up behind me and has a go at me, like constantly. And so what does that do to people's brains? What does that do to the society? Like maybe everybody's like afraid of getting shouted at. Like it's sort of like we literally aren't allowed to sort of like think anymore.
Surely England, even more so than America, is the world's most anti-intellectual country.
I think so. Yeah, because America's got this whole kind of tradition of like the great American novel, and sort of they're quite sort of proud of their culture, and there's a lot of intellectuals. A friend of mine, lots of people I know from out of the country have said the same sort of thing, but a friend of mine sort of put it as like the difference between different English-speaking countries, like say Britain and America, is like if you said in America, hey, I'm writing a novel, then people would be like, oh, right.
Oh, tell me about it.
What's that about? Oh, good luck to you and stuff. But if you said that in England, people would go, oh, you're never going to do it. No, you shouldn't be doing that. Why aren't you down the pit? It's like ridiculous.
You're correct. That's exactly
it's absurd. It's like this kind of weird, sort of comes from this like Protestant work ethic thing. But actually, like, everybody, this whole thing about, like, some people work hard and some people don't. I was like, no, everyone I've
Taylor
met
Swift works hard for
really
money.
hard.
Yeah,
Like,
everyone.
people who have the threat of being skint and starving tend to put their all into trying to not be skint and starving.
Yeah,
So,
every single person who works 9 to 5 is being asked to do an almost inhuman thing, you know? To get up in winter when it's dark,
like 5
go
a.m.
home when it's dark. I think
Yeah, so
that the
everyone's
9 to
working hard.
5 job
everyone I've met.
is a massive kind of invasion of a life, a massive takeover of a life.
Yes,
when
disgusting.
all
Most
humans
of them can be
have,
done from home, not 9 to 5.
we
can be
all
done with
contain universes.
Yeah.
And what? We should be doing data entry for baby eaters.
Yeah, great.
No.
But it's just sort of like, you know, up until recently there wasn't maternity leave. There's no like father leave. It's, you know what I mean? I have to, my work history has consisted of like, I've gotten up to a point where I can do it for like a very short period of time, like 3 weeks or something, and then I'm in utter agony from like endometrial pain, fibromyalgia, Ehlers-Danlos loss, like, you know, and sort of like having narcolepsy and being autistic, and then blah, 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 like all this other stuff. Oh no, I forgot, most people don't seem to believe that disability is real. But anyway, so I managed to keep.
You don't look autistic.
I managed to keep like, well, I think I do really, but I managed to keep sort of like, can keep the energy up for like maybe sort of like 10 days or something, and then I'm really, really sick. And at that point, if it's a normal job, I usually just have to quit because they're not going to understand. And also, if it's something like bar work, and I used to have sort of PTSD and dissociative episodes and like blackout, you know, similarly, I'm obviously not really suited to that kind of environment. So at the same time, the bar manager can't really be expected to, you know, you need to be able to actually do the job. So it's kind of.
I was just thinking
I can't remember what the point of that was.
But while you were saying that, I was thinking.
Yeah, if it was a bit more. Sorry, if it was a bit more like accessible, then people wouldn't have to quit. A lot of disabled people just have to quit because they can't. You know, it's embarrassing. I mean, to talk about it all the time, as well.
One thing that would help people like us, who are like the autism subtype, whichever one it was, because we look like we look frankly superb, right? We look frankly superb and are very verbally dexterous, but are often dying inside. So I thought one would really work as an indicator of what's really going on with people like us, despite the external appearance of being extremely glamorous and beautiful and with really elegant movements and
like in that weird
big
psychology
mysterious
book I
eyes
found
and
from the
so on.
70s.
Yeah, we could start wearing a safety helmet at all times. If you walk around in a safety helmet, like a builder's helmet or something like that, then everyone is going to know, I need to be cautious around this one. And that's basically it, listeners. By this point, especially...
No, I want a Faraday cage.
Well, especially if, like, you're, like, A, cool Mason, B, a fool, a fascist, you want to be cautious. You want to be a little bit cautious around me. Because I'm a little bit wild and unpredictable and mad, huh? Yeah. People like to spread rumours that I'm an insane person, dear listeners.
They like to spread rumours that I am as well, and you know, I've been very open about my medical history because I was trying to help other people, but apparently that makes me mental.
Well, no, but
it's
what that situation,
that
which
suggests
we won't
that actually
go
you're
into.
just using your brain, doesn't
But
it?
what
Thinking about it.
We won't go into the situation, but what I will say about it that I've realised from it is this thing that people think that there is this disease called madness by which you can hallucinate entire other realities
that's not how
that
it
don't
works.
exist. And any cursory knowledge of mental illness would show you that there is no madness in which one would completely hallucinate a life or something that you see.
No.
Or so
it's
I'm quite surprised that that people are so uninformed about mental health.
No, I don't think it is that.
As to think a depressive person would, I don't know, I'll make up something not from my life. A depressive person would see a shiny green ball flying in the middle of the room.
Yeah, you wouldn't. Usually when you're depressed, you just sort of cry under a duvet.
Yeah.
Or you don't cry and you feel nothing, and then you try to like get along with other people and you just feel kind of hollow. But the thing that I think about this is like, 'cause I just don't believe that anyone does think this. I think maybe because we've had all this stuff in society. Oh yeah, reduce the stigma about mental health. Talk to your friends. Your friends are always there for you. We all have mental health. So I mean, that implies that everybody was sort of conversing about it a bit, which they obviously weren't. They were just saying a sort of slogan. But the fact is, because everyone's allowed to completely, you know, shift what the social, whatever, not allowed to, but you know what I mean? Because everyone's constantly choosing what the public sphere is going to say, these sort of slogan-y things, it just kind of makes me think that no one has actually got any opinion or authenticity or like can think for themselves at all. If people are willing to kind of like flip-flop over their like ethical sort of like baseline, completely depending on which celebrity is like converted to vegetarianism or whatever, like, or like which, I don't know, like the people will just flip-flop, and it just kind of implies a real lack of character, really. Yeah. Like, I don't know, it's sort of like there's all the people doing horrible things and being horrible, and as well as being horrible for other people and showing that you have no respect for anyone but yourself, you're not showing that you respect yourself. You don't respect yourself, because like from a perspective of like living a kind of authentic life that is enjoyable, sort of like the kind of traditional sort of philosophical ideas of like the good life, like to do that, something like a violent kind of racist impulse, that's not actually based on a value. It's based on following a libidinous desire, following some like really weird sort of perversion or something, where you're the actual thing is kind of like, well, I mean, I'm not just the only one who says this. A lot of philosophers and stuff would say it's kind of eroticized, really, all your violence, and there's like a basis for it that comes from something kind of like sexualized. So that's not like nihilism, is it? That's not like having a value. That's not saying I'm living according to these principles, because they're not principles. They're just like scrambling around in the sort of like, you know, messy sort of fecal matter of like what used to be ethics. It's not actually, so none of it's authentic, and it's just really pretentious. I mean, we would have a better time if people were actually trying to, if they actually followed what they deep down really authentically wanted. It would be well, I mean, if we hadn't been living in constant resource wars, then I think maybe a lot of these psychopathies wouldn't have developed, because they come from like competition, and competition comes from resource wars. So
yeah, well, okay, well, you know, talking of all of these social ills, it leads us, Lottie, to my current favourite subject, the cool Masons. Now, fact, Masons have 2 balls, right? Because they've got all their badges, their pinnies, their regalia, their gloves, their business suits, their little thing. What's it?
Oh, we can just go further into the belly of hell.
Oh yeah,
to
that's
discuss
fine.
This,
so
it's more on brand.
So Masons, as well as all that other regalia, this is something I read on freemasonfans.blogspot.com. They actually, it's a great website. It's very informative, but also informal and fun. Masons as well as all this, they have two balls. A private sphere and a public sphere. The public sphere is a very small ball that they can just keep in the pocket of their business suit, their inside pocket, or nip it up where the sun don't shine. And their private sphere is a great big ball that they keep inside. And masons, when they get home from work after a long day, they get to roll around on their private sphere.
Like one of those Pilates.
It's like a Pilates ball, but it's gold and made of it's a solid piece of marble with a gold casting that every single cool mason gets. A private sphere and a public sphere. So next time you see a mason, you can say to them, "Hey, cool mason, I hear you have two balls." Hello.
Hello. Oh, he's gone.
Yeah. Oh, well. So, from Masonic balls to other kinds of balls, the
Mormon ball?
No, not the Mormon ball. I'll talk about that another time. But I'd like to talk about the outside of our experience of it, which we spoke about a lot. I would like to talk about the flying ball videos and so on.
Oh, there's some flying balls.
Yeah. That have been released by the US government and the Brazilian government, and we're now living in this time.
I mean, can we just sort of get it over with and just start talking about the fact that there's UFOs everywhere and that we don't actually live in like this kind of bland material existence? I mean, your only problem with it really is the idea that everything's connected, which it is. I mean, think about reality in the sense of like there's lots of things that we can't see. The birds out there, they communicate with big sort of like semaphore.
But we can see them. You just got to spend more time looking up. But the Brazilian government has released videos of lovely little funny looking fellows being restrained by people.
Completely like kind of torture methodology, or is it?
No,
do you reckon they're sort of going along with it?
It looks like medical.
I think they're sort of like it's like in unified sort of for science.
The US government, it seems, released a video of a crashed UFO and a bunch of guys in hazmat suits chaperoning a classic grey alien.
Well, I mean, okay, right. Put it
so here we are, listeners. It's time to. It isn't in the papers because for some reason they don't want you to think about it.
Well, I think
but it's all there.
I think also they're
multiple
not really
governments
showing themselves to sort of like, like the people who are sort of like, oh, I need a photo to see everything, and it's kind of like, well.
Yeah.
Well, why? I mean, but then you see a photo and then you...
The idea
like if it's like...
I
don't know, like look at something like the naked mole rat, that was kind of sort of teleologically predicted, like it exists, people... It feels like this... they knew it was there already because of other things around it. And it's the same with the UFOs, except there's literal... photos, videos, testimony, everybody talking about it, like kind of already speculated in physics how they move around.
But why does a photograph verify anything?
Yeah.
We've known since the beginning of photography that a photograph can be manipulated.
Also in terms of sort of like we didn't, at the beginnings of kind of all the stuff that we take now for granted in terms of scientific method and stuff, didn't involve, they were all made in kind of ancient Greece, so we didn't need photographs then. Obviously it's very difficult for people to accept, but I would have thought like lots and lots of people reporting seeing the same thing and everybody saying yeah they're there, and the fact that the idea isn't actually crazy. The only methodology framework that people are using to say it's crazy isn't a completely egotistical anthropocentric framework anyway. The idea that other people haven't worked out how to move around without burning a load of oil is just... that's like a lie, isn't it? Like it's already been speculated for years how they're travelling about. or that maybe the nature of the universe itself makes it a lot easier than we think, and you know, I don't know. I don't understand why lots of photos and videos of the same vehicle taken by people who don't know each other, and they're all I don't understand why that's not.
But now we literally have, from multiple sources, videos of bodies, or not bodies, living, breathing, funny men, and
like funny men,
and we also have. I mean, I've thought it's insane that it hasn't been the front page news every single day for some time now, but the mummies that were found buried underneath the Nazca lines, even a vague look into this will show you that these are not fabrications. If they are fabrications, they are made by some unknown, astonishing technology that could construct entire bodies within hundreds of entire bodies with, you know, nervous systems and hearts and organs, and some of them have eggs inside them. Go on the YouTube and look up the CT scans of the Nazca mummies.
Some of them have like metal implants, don't they?
Yes.
Which I reckon is like
a manufactured
like
metal, osmium, a very rare metal that's
device.
been, that you need to mix something like. Apparently, we couldn't make osmium until
it's
very
kind of
recently.
An offset material from super high industrialized production, which you can't get unless it's like it involves machines.
And you certainly couldn't get 1,000 years ago, where we know for sure the mummies of Nazca are carbon dated to 1,000 years ago. There's been various. There's been lots of disinformation regarding all of this stuff to try and discredit it. And then people ask, well, what's the conspiracy? Why would they try and discredit all of this stuff?
Well, why would anyone want to admit that maybe sort of the economy's made up and that like space is bigger than all of us?
The economy is made up. The economy isn't real. But what I'm asking is like, people ask the question of why people would try to conceal the nature of reality to us. And I would go back to one of my favourite subjects, disenchantment. It's the same as it's ever been for the majority of the past 1,000 years. You know, you tell them that the nature of any higher state of reality can be achieved only by a few selected elite figures. The Mormon Church takes this to the extreme by having as the head of the church a prophet who they genuinely believe that the prophet is the only person on earth who actually has like a direct phone to God and can talk directly with God and things, which
you were told that you were going to be the next
as a Mormon
prophet,
as a child Mormon, I was told, oh, we've got the next Mormon prophet here. But ladies, gentlemen, and everyone else, that I did not turn out to be the next Mormon prophet. I instead discovered that I really like public speaking at that point.
Well, I mean,
and I wanted to be an entertainer.
You have been welcomed, however, into my fold, church, Order of the Manted, and as one of the priests of the new hybridized work from home Oracle of Delphi, and I've got a track record of some of them visions coming true.
Yeah.
But the way that works is that in the old days she would imbibe whatever vapors it was, and then ran about and stuff, and then the priest would translate it into
what vapors was she imbibing?
It's debated, many suggestions. Bay leaf, possibly some sort of thing from the rocks, or other things which seem likely as well.
If you inhale bay leaf, does it make you go funny and have visions?
Well, I mean, I think maybe because I was, recently it seems to sort of check out really.
Yeah.
From what I've experienced, but it's attached to Apollo, I think, the bay, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes. I've just had a wonderful thought though. The thinning of the veil and all that stuff. When the veil is finally doesn't have to do its work anymore, it can finally get married.
Oh, that's nice.
Isn't that lovely? Yeah.
It will lift up and then
it will lift
be a
up.
lovely wedding.
Yeah, it'll go off and have a lovely wedding. So that'll be nice. That's something to look forward to. I'm going to get the veil some wonderful wedding gifts. I'm not going to get it anything spooky and supernatural because it's sick of that. It would like utility things. The veil, once its job is done, is going to get married and live a quiet
life. Who's
life.
it going to marry?
I'm not sure who the veil is in love with.
Well, I was asking whether it's possible to marry water. Maybe it could marry water.
Would the veil marry water? Maybe. I kind of imagine the veil might like to marry someone like Liberace, someone spectacular. Or you're pretty spectacular. But I don't want you to marry the veil. I want you to marry me.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Okay, so now I wanted to do this, which is my new idea. It was inspired by washing Jonny Greenwood, the guitar player from Radiohead. It was inspired by a song about giving him a lovely wash, which we can listen to maybe after what I'm going to give you now. So I've been doing all of these AI raps, right? And Scrub Jonny Greenwood was done over some AI classical music. And then it just struck me that maybe it would be nice to also do rap versions of genuine Victorian music. Because it's written in such a way that is very helpful to rap. This tells me it's an E-flat major. That doesn't matter in that context, because I'm going to be rapping. Yeah, come on, yeah. Give it up. Yeah. I am the very model of a modern major general of information, vegetable, animal, and mineral. I know the kings of England and a quantified historical, from Marathon to Waterloo, or the categorical. I'm very well acquainted with matters mathematical. I understand equations both the simple and quadratical. About binomial theorem, I'm teeming with a lot of news. With many cheerful facts about the square of the hypotenuse. Yeah, give it up. Yeah, let me hear it. Come on, yeah. I'm very good at integral and differential calculus. I know the scientific names of beings and animalculus. Shorty matters, vegetable, animal, and mineral. I am the very model, modern major general. Yeah. Good idea, huh? I know our mythic history, King Arthur and Sir Caradox. I answer how the acrostics have a pretty taste for paradox. Quoting elegiacs, all the crimes of Heliogabalus. In conics I can floor peculiarities parabolous. I can tell undoubted Raphaels from Jared Dowson's Zophanies. I know the croaking chorus from the frogs of Aristophanes. I can hum a fugue which I've heard the music's dinner for. Whistle all the airs from that infernal nonsense. Pinafore. Yeah. HMS Pinafore. Give it up. A previous Gilbert and Sullivan work. Then I can write a washing bill in Babylonian cuneiform and tell you every detail of Caractacus' uniform. Shorty matters, vegetable, animal, and mineral. I am the very model of a modern major general. Yeah. In fact, when I know what is meant by mamelon and reveling, when I can tell a cider moves a rifle from a javelin, when such affairs are sorted as surprises, I'm more wary at when I know precisely what is meant by commissariat. When I have learned what progress has been made in modern gunnery. When I know more of tactics than a novice in a nunnery. In short, when I've a smattering of elemental strategy. Strategy, passagy, chassagy. You say about the Major General has never Saturday. Yeah, yeah. For my military knowledge, though I'm plucky and adventurous, has only been brought down to the beginning of the century. Still it matters vegetable, animal, and mineral. I am the very model of a modern Major General. Let me hear ya. Now give it up. Yeah, come on. Yeah, bring it on home. Give it up for Gilbert and Sullivan. Yeah. How about that? Works, doesn't it? That works. So there's another thing you can do at home to have fun, is you can rap over Gilbert and Sullivan YouTube karaoke. Let me just have a You see, the good thing about history is it can be repurposed, changed, altered. You can have fun with it. That's why copyright law is so insane. Yo, yeah, check this one. When you're lying awake with a dismal headache and repose is taboo by anxiety, I conceive you may use any language you choose to indulge in without impropriety. For your brain is on fire, the bedclothes conspire, the usual slumber to plunder you. First your canopy goes and uncovers your toes and your sheet slips demurely from under you. Then the blanketing tickles, you feel like mixed pickles, so terribly sharp is the prickling. And you hot and you cross and you tumble and toss till there's nothing to steer in the ticking. Then the bedclothes all creep to the ground in a heap and you pick them all up in a tangle. Next your pillow resigns and politely declines to remain at its usual angle. Well, you get some repose in the form of a doze with hot eyeballs and head ever aching, but you're slumbering teens with such horrible dreams that you'd very much rather be waking. For your dream you were crossing the channel and tossing about in the steamer from Harwich, which is something between a large bathing machine and a very small second-class carriage. And you're giving a treat penny ice and cold meat to a party of friends and relations. They're a ravenous horde and they all come on board at Sloane Square in South Kensington Station. Bound on that journey you find your attorney who started that morning from Devon. He's a bit undersized and you don't feel surprised when he tells you he's only 11. When you're driving like mad with this singular lad by the ship's now a four-wheeler, and you're playing round games and he calls you bad names and you tell him to pay the dealer. But this you can't stand, so you throw up your hand and you find you're as cold as an icicle. In your shirt and your socks, black silk and gold clocks crossing Salisbury, playing on a bicycle. And he and the crew are on bicycles too, which they're somehow or other invested in. And he's telling the tars of the particulars of a company he's interested in. It's a scheme of devices to get at low prices all goods from cough mixers to cables, which tickled the sailors by treating retailers as though they were all vegetables. You get a good spaceman to plant a small tradesman first take off his boots with a boot tree, and his legs will take root and his fingers will shoot and they'll blossom and bud like a fruit tree. From the greengrocer's tree you get grapes and green pea, cauliflower, pineapple and cranberries, while a pastry cook plant cherry brandy with granapple puffs and 3 corners and bamberries. The shares are a penny and ever so many are taken by Rothschild and Baring, and just as a few are allotted to you, you awake with a shudder despairing. You're a regular wrecker with a crick in your neck, and no wonder you snore for your head's on the floor, and you've needles and pins from your soles to your shins, and your flesh is a quake for your left leg to sleep, cramping your toes and a fly in your nose, and some fluff in your lung, and a feverish tongue. Thirst is intense, and a general sense that you haven't been sleeping in clover. But the darkness has passed in its daylight at last, and the night has been long. Ditto, ditto, my son. And thank goodness you're both of them over. Yeah! Ha 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 ha! Huh?
Yeah?
See, it works. Just another way you can have fun, dear listeners. Now, Lottie, how many points out of 10 would you give that?
Oh, 10.5.
Hear that?
100.
Huh? Okay, now one more time. I want you to give it up. Here we go. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you know it. Give it up. Yeah. When I was a lad, I served a turn as an office boy to an attorney's firm. Cleaned the windows and I swept the floor. I polished up the handle of the big front door. I polished up the handle so carefully. Now I am the ruler of the Queen's Navy. Yeah. As office boy, I made such a mark that they gave me the post of a junior clerk. Served the writs with a smile so bland, and I copied all the letters in a big round hand. I copied all the letters in a hand so free. Now I am the ruler of the Queen's Navy. Come on. Yeah. In serving writs, I made such a name that an article clerk I soon became. I wore clean collars and a brand new suit for the PES examination of the Institute. That PES examination did so well for me, and now I am the ruler of the Queen's Navy. Yeah, give it up. Yeah. Of legal knowledge, I acquired such a grip that they took me into the partnership. The junior partnership I win was the only ship I ever had seen. Yeah. The kind of ships that suited me. Now I am the ruler of the Queen's Navy. Yeah, give it up for the ruler of the Queen's Navy. I grew so rich that I was sent by a pocket borrowing a parliament. I always folded my party's call, and I never thought of thinking for myself at all. No. I thought so little it rewarded me. Now I am the ruler of the Queen's Navy. Yeah, give it up for the ruler of the Queen's Navy. Yeah. Now, landsmen, or whoever you may be, if you want to rise to the top of the tree, if your soul is impeded by an office stool, be careful to be guided by the golden rule. Yeah. Stick close to your desks. Never go to sea. You all may be rulers of the Queen's Navy. Come on, yeah, give it up. Yeah. Quite actually a quite nice piece of satire, isn't it, that song? Saying, why has an office bureaucrat been made the ruler of the Navy? Goodness gracious, Lottie, you look insanely attractive today.
Amish.
Lottie is dressed in a kind of Amish outfit. Lottie is a real fashion icon. The world does not pay enough attention.
I'm also quite into different variations on modesty wear.
Yeah, this is sort of Amish modesty wear today. It's nice. All black, full covering, but a little bit of leopard print coming out of the cuffs. Fantastic.
Oats,
close to oats. Who doesn't want to feel close to oats?
I can't join
with
the Quakers
our
oat
group drink.
Heavy, but I think that porridge and sort of enjoying the universe, and it's
cool.
sort of kind of sort of kind of will-being thing, and not wanting to go and sort of wave a gun about and kill people is a really good thing. So big up the Quakers.
Yeah, you know the way you're not allowed to advertise on community radio? Are you allowed to sort of do the opposite? Are you allowed to talk about really hating companies?
No, I don't, well...
no. For example, well, maybe it's not the company, but the kind of copy that you get on oat milk cartons.
Oh, it's dreadful.
Right? These terrible things. It's just... I mean, I'm looking at, and because I don't want to suckle on the lactate of the bovine god.
You don't want to be doing that.
But so we get these oat made things, because I mean, who doesn't love a bowl of porridge? You'd have to be great bowl of porridge, some lovely brown sugar on the top.
What's wrong with porridge? Like, we all used to eat porridge.
I love a bit of porridge. You all
think you're too good for beans. Our ancestors, we wouldn't be here now if it wasn't for beans and porridge and gruel and other stuff. So
I don't actually know what gruel is.
I think gruel can be many things. I think it's just a general term for soup.
I'm not sure.
Thing.
I think gruel might be something
there's so much you
very
can do
specific.
With a big pot of loads of vegetables or porridge or something.
Gruel.
It could genuinely save the world. The solution is there. It's a good idea.
So it's
porridge.
Gruel is porridge.
Yeah.
But it's porridge. Gruel is sort of interdisciplinary porridge, because gruel can be made with oats, that we make porridge with, but you can also make it with your wheat or your cornmeal. Historically served to the sick. Which,
yeah, you know what I mean? It kept people alive. I
well,
think it's...
I've got to be honest, do you remember that period where it was a winter time and I was eating porridge every morning, and goodness gracious, I felt like Popeye.
And I remember being a kid, and we lived in this, one of the other houses near where my father currently lives, but it was like very cold, you know, sort of like old farm barn thing. And I hated school because, as you know, probably a lot of people tuned into this have hit my guts before, and that is the general consensus. And you know, people like me, not good in school, don't do good in school. But I do remember having to get up really early, and it was horrible and painful, and my mother or stepfather would make a fire in the middle of the winter, and I'd watch a bit of TV in the morning and just sort of like, well, I mean, it was depression. Like it just sort of like, if you're kind of getting to the point where you hope that you might get hit by a car or be able to cut your leg off rather than going into school, I'd say that that's not a good way for someone to live. Also, I can't actually remember learning anything in school at all. I do remember. I do remember they showed me once they got some lungs from a dead pig, and they put a tube down the lungs, and then the science teacher was blowing through the tube, and there was all this like blood and mucus and stuff, and it was like inflating, and no one seemed to have a problem with it. And I mean, it's a very sort of weirdly fond memory of mine, because the kind of power balance between the teacher and all the bully kids and everybody and myself was suddenly, I no longer cared, because I was dry heaving under the table and knew that that's a really weird thing to show to children. So I felt quite like ageless and adult in that moment. But that's the kind of thing I used to hate about school.
It is a very strange thing to show to children.
But porridge sort of kept me alive a bit. You know, it was like a little bowl of sort of something good in the morning in this just horrible cold light of wintry day. I don't really understand why they sort of show the children the organs and like put the blood, and I think it's probably just to get the children to be okay with like death. And I mean, it just seems very strange. We also went to the fish farm once, and all the kids were saying, "Oh, I want to see a fish." And then they bludgeoned a fish to death in front of all the children, and everybody was screaming. And then the woman was affectionately known as Fish Killer after that, because she was. And we all got into trouble because we were calling her Fish Killer, and she didn't want to go into work. But we stood our ground, and we won that. And then I saw her in the hospital years later when I couldn't breathe, and was being given the oxygen and laughing hysterically because it was the Fish Killer woman.
I have a couple of interesting facts about Gruel that I thought you might like to. So, in German, Griesmehl, and in Dutch, Griesmehl, compounds anti-compounds to English to mean grist meal, which is rather wonderful. Do you want some grist meal? It implies that it's sort of more difficult to eat than it is. The second fact,
because you eat it when you're sick usually, and it's a difficult experience to eat when you're sick.
The etymology is somewhere there. Where's it gone? There we are. So what is it? Grutelum, which meant Grout, surmised on the basis of a modern cognate, grout.
Alright, so it's
grout.
It's edible grout.
Edible concrete.
But what does grout mean, really?
In the modern cognate, grout.
What does grout mean, really?
A dense substance that flows like a liquid yet hardens upon it. I mean, porridge does that, doesn't it? You leave it sets.
I remember getting really upset about that.
But
the adhesive nature of porridge.
I don't think
in kitchens.
But could you use it to stick a house together, porridge?
Maybe.
Would it
I mean,
work?
people used to make sort of, or still do make kind of mud-based things. That is effectively all building is. So, you know, it's like the less pretentious sort of wall bricklaying.
Yeah, right.
I mean, like
Grouting.
less sort of burning down the community centre and more living within the means of the land.
Yeah.
I don't know, I remember going to the Roman villa in Newport on the
You know,
Isle of Wight.
all those years
Oh,
I was
it
on the Isle of
seemed
Wight,
great.
I never made it to the
Seemed
Roman
great. They
villas.
made us go and
I've been
sit
to
about
Roman
and,
villas
like,
along
make some-
Hadrian's Wall.
They made us sit about and make some sort of like various kind of stew-like food or something like on
Gruel.
we had it was like rice in a leaf. It was nice.
Oh, right. Oh, nice.
Whatever
Nice.
the equivalent, like nuts in a leaf, and then I think they were talking about making things out of mud. It seemed really nice. I think it's a great idea. Let's stop burning everything.
Yeah, and let's build our houses with porridge.
Yeah, let's stop burning everything, and everything will be fine.
But the second thing I wanted to reveal to you was this. Picture, Lottie, if you will. Close your eyes and picture. You are on the Titanic. You are a poor person, so you are travelling
Oh no.
third class on that
Oh, dear.
Titanic, which means I'm guessing that your cabin's closer to the water level. So you're on that Titanic. You feel the ship hit something. Boom! And you think, oh well, if we're all going to die now, I better go and eat something. So you get yourself to the third class restaurant, and do you know what they have on the menu there? Gruel.
Oh really?
You can-
It takes
you-
quite a while to eat.
So well, exactly.
Does it float?
So it passes. Does gruel float?
I mean, from my
That's the
experiences
thing.
of being sick, it does
yeah,
look
it
like it
does.
floats.
Yeah.
So maybe that's alright.
So
I'll make
if
it-
you were in the
I'm gonna
sea
make a gruel
with your
snack.
gruel, and well, actually your bowl floats anyway, so
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
no reason. I mean, probably the lady lady in third class, she died, but a bowl of gruel.
I don't like
Mate,
thinking about the
sailed
Titanic. It
on.
scares me. It
Yeah,
scares
well,
me.
it is a bit
It's
terrifying,
scary.
isn't it?
I don't like icebergs. They're deceptive lines that
Yeah.
present one thing, but then underneath there's a writhing monster
Yeah.
that goes on forever.
I like what they look like, but I certainly wouldn't like to have
Have
a
you seen
close encounter with them
have
in
you
a
seen
boat.
like videos of like, you know, when sort of plankton or whatever gets frozen in the ice and it all looks like a big monster?
No, I have
Scary.
not actually seen
It's
that.
scary. I don't like the sea.
I'm
we
picturing
should stay
it
out of
now.
the sea.
I agree, we should stay out of the
Stay out of
sea.
space unless you work out the teleportation thing, and then that's all fine. But stay out of the sea. You don't want to know what's in the sea. I know some fishermen who say that they didn't bother learning how to swim because if they fall in, they don't want to. They know what's in there, so they don't want to be alive for that long.
Oh.
I mean, that's really disturbing.
What, because of pollution?
Well, no, because of like all the monsters.
Oh.
I mean, I like the monsters, but they are like scary.
What, fishermen who say if they fall in the sea,
They just want to die
they
and get
want to
over
die?
with.
Why?
Because all of the things with teeth,
Oh.
like scary.
You mean if they fall in the
tentacly,
sea and they can't get out?
and they can't get out?
I thought you just meant fishermen if they fall in the sea
No,
once
not in
and then get back
general.
out.
No,
They're like, oh, I've had it.
No, I mean,
it's
I mean,
the
like,
end.
I mean, like if they're out like in the deep and there's no hope.
Right.
I mean, I think I'd feel like that as well. Wouldn't want to end up in the water forever. It wouldn't be good.
Oh, well,
It'd be
I
like
mean, no.
Waterworld. That's a really. It's very confusing.
Did we
I didn't-
actually watch
No,
Waterworld?
I couldn't. It was very boring.
It's really boring.
But I do think it's quite amazing that they all learn to do the rigging themselves. There's a
Yeah.
lot of rigging in that film.
And
Quite.
Kevin Costner spent every single day of that shoot on the set. I think he had one or maybe one day off a week. I'm going to ask the internet. How long was Kevin Costner
Didn't they just do it
on
in like a pool.
The Waterworld
They could have just
set.
done it in a
They should have
pool.
done it at like Splashdown
Why
or
not?
something.
Just like those big ones you got in like Pinewood or whatever, and they could have just had one set and then made another one, and then swapped them out. Why did they go to sea?
Because they wanted to build a water world. It's kind of exciting that they.
How
did.
far out at sea was it?
I'm not sure, but it says here that because Kevin Costner, it's always been the thing that while I don't know why I know so much, but I do know why I know so much about Waterworld because I'm interested in that kind of thing.
I love waltzing
I'm interested in
maybe
massive
it's
media.
about water.
Well, it's just
I don't know,
I'm interested in massive media
I
when
find
it goes
water
wrong.
like exciting
Yeah.
as well. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes
Yeah,
you
for
look
sure,
at
I'm
water
excited
and you
by
get
water.
excited
Yeah.
about looking at the water.
Yeah, for
You know when the lights like doing that
when
thing.
the water is leaping
When
and
the
dancing,
water's
yes.
like when it looks amazing, and I get excited about water, and I think it's probably a sublime sort of terror thing. But I do like it when it's in a nice shape. So Waterworld
Yeah.
should be my favourite experience. But it's
There's not a lot of dancing water. It's more
dancing
just
with
like
Kevin
splashing.
Costner. Yeah.
It's splashing. It's a lot of splashing, and splashing is fun, as everybody knows. If you don't think this is true, then you're being dishonest.
Stay away from leeches
Splashing.
in the water.
Oh yeah, don't go.
Don't go near the leeches.
I'm talking about in the bath and
Right,
so
okay,
on.
yeah.
Splashing is great fun. Everyone likes a splash, don't they? Everyone loves to go splash, splash, splash. And but that splashing is like fun for the person doing the splashing. For everyone else, it's not much fun at all. So Waterworld, I would say, is a splashing movie rather than a leaping water movie. And I just wanted to tell you, well, first of all, this long-known thing that I've just looked up the statistic. Kevin Costner, or Uncle Kev, as we call him in some circles, Wet Uncle Kev.
Wet Kevin Costner.
Wet Kev. Robin Hood or Wet Kev. Wet Kev. What were we talking about? Okay,
Kevin Costner.
I'm gonna get it back. Oh yeah, so he was on Waterworld on the semi-aquatic set that they built, the Hollywood crazy guys, for 157 days.
So stupid.
157 days.
I mean, all the animals in
And
that area, all the marine life, are just.
in that
what are they
time-
doing now?
Yeah.
What's he doing?
In that time, he worked 6-day weeks. So Kevin Costner was on that set for 6 days a week for 157 days in total. And I always thought, wow, Uncle Wet Kev, that's amazing. I mean, that at least shows some dedication. Because obviously the general sort of film shooting, I guess, is not the most comfortable thing, but when you've been spent the entire day for like half a year
At sea.
at sea in some water, getting wet with your cameras, you're going to want to go to a lovely, comfy bed at the end of that day. And apparently the entire crew of Waterworld were put up in like condos, little unheated condos.
Oh my
And
God.
Kevin Costner, Wet Kev as they call him, was sleeping in an apartment that was $4,500 a night.
Wow.
Want to answer for that, Wet Kev?
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, so they had to go out and get really cold in the water,
And
then
then
they were
they-
like in a shipping unit or something.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds horrible.
That's terrible.
Why would anyone want to work in the film industry?
It all sounds
it's
dreadful.
Awful. I've done bits and pieces of stuff, and it just involves being outside.
Well, you ended up in
4
hospital
a.m.
on the last film
the last
project we
one
were
was
involved
like I
in.
ended up in hospital.
Someone
because the man
else's
was
film
a
project.
sociopath.
Yeah. Someone else's film project, not my film project.
No,
because
not
my
so.
film projects are fun to work on and everybody has a
He
lovely
made
time.
us do 22-hour days of like heavy, hard labour stuff, and like it was all kind of very much like shutting the door while we were on set, and then no one's allowed to say anything, and if you say anything or make a noise, they scream at you or ask you. Like in my case, he wanted me to take my shoes off, which was a very strange sort of foot fetishy moment. And it was all very, all very sort of power dynamics. A lot of directors are like real, nasty, like, everybody throws the word auteur around and they actually believe, aren't embarrassed. And, I ended up in like hospital with sort of severe tendinitis and couldn't walk for about 2 months.
Yeah.
Because my knees were pushing out and filling up with fluid.
Yeah, that was exciting.
Yeah, and then, he turned up and got the data cards and didn't say sorry or anything. So, you can tell how all the stuff that is really dodgy in Hollywood, if that's just some indie director, then it's probably much worse with big industry behind them.
Yes, it probably is. You don't get that kind of thing on my film projects, on my theatre projects though. So if you'd ever like to be in them, get in touch, drop me a line. I'm always looking for actors and interesting people to work with. You will not end up like in a cellar underground with a broken leg or anything like that.
The other one I did where they got me to turn up and I came in late on the end of the film, which was like one of these horror films about people in a abandoned house and then there's a killer in the basement or whatever and they have to try and run away. And I came in on the last bit and I was playing this girl who, like his daughter or whatever, had been chained to a radiator for her whole life and horrible abuse and stuff. I came in at the end of it and it was like, didn't know anything about it at all, about the project, just looking for any work really, and came in at the end and they chained me to the radiator and they were all like crying because it was the last day, and, oh, it's been amazing, and they'd all been like locked in sort of like this closed building, closed set for like 2 weeks, so functionally it had been the same as the story. They'd all gone about, all this like bonding and everything, and then I came in at the end, they chained me to the radiator, and then they all went to lunch for like 40 minutes or an hour, and I was like, okay, fine. And so I did actually pick up all the sort of crayons for the child that had been chained to the radiator storyline, and wrote down some admin. So it's quite,
Excellent.
It's a very boring line of work, and no one really pays anyone, and you don't get credited, and most stuff really isn't very good. And like most stuff really shouldn't be being made.
I think all stuff now that's being done through industrial models is kind of instantly makes itself irrelevant to any culture.
A lot of people that I've met who want to be a filmmaker or whatever are all sort of like, no, my debut, and it's like, 2-minute sort of like not particularly, all right film, but really like it's not really like sort of Gruel kind of thing, kind of things that don't really need to be there, that no one's really going to remember. And they're all getting really het up about this stuff and thinking that they're artists and stuff. It's like, honey, very few of us are artists. You may as well not worry about it. It's not going to be very good. Anyway.
So Lottie, would you like to hear now on our wonderful radio program, would you like to hear the aforementioned song about that lovely, live, sexy boy from Radiohead?
Oh yeah.
Getting a lovely wash and pamper session.
Once.
Yeah, you did, yeah. And didn't someone say something really embarrassing
He
to
said
him?
something really kind of like, you can imagine the person who's into Radiohead saying like, I think it was better when you were making like the more minimal techno.
Well,
stuff.
actually, you can't usually imagine someone doing that.
Well, Radiohead fans are like
Someone
quite
of
weird.
great
Like, I
arrogance,
knew another guy who had been.
Not that
done
I'm saying
for,
Radiohead is some amazing band, but
no, but like
I don't really like
weird
Radiohead.
stalky
But
stuff.
you don't go up to a musician and say, "I think your other stuff was better."
Yeah.
I mean, I've had
And he
that
was like
quite a
well
few
angry.
times. I've literally had people
We were
saying
both-
to me
I
like
was
the
with another
equivalent
guy as
of, "I
well.
like
We
your
were sort of
early
like-
funny ones."
Yeah, we were.
Well,
there were three of us.
The world's
Me and
not
the-
funny at the moment,
Me and
love.
the other guy were like, what? You know, like just as a sort of musician, it's pretty offensive, really. And then, yeah, I worked with another guy I think had been like Tom York actually had like a restraining order against him or something. Very strange.
But let me tell you something else, Lottie, before we hear that.
I think it's like K-pop, the stuff with Radiohead. You know, like the
Yeah,
stalkers
yeah.
and everything that you get in K-pop
Yeah.
stuff.
But before we go to our song about Jonny Greenwood, I want to talk about Jonny a little more. You see, Jonny, he's got something that not many men have got, hasn't he, laddie? Jonny, he's got a Ons Martineau.
Oh, has he?
One of the
wow,
few.
that must be his real composer.
One of the few existing Ons Martineaus. Drizzle it over ice cream. Drink it neat. Ons Martineau. It's a very beautiful instrument, the Ons Martineau. Olivier Messiaen used it to great and beautiful and wonderful effect. And
He's the only one.
and Jonny Greenwood, he's one of the few people on this whole damn planet got an Ons Martineau. Now, the possibility now, you see, we have for the rest of the program of using Ons Martineau as a euphemism is really quite high, isn't it?
Oh,
Really,
yeah.
like like for example, now it sounds double-edged, but still Ofcom friendly. Me saying, "Oh, do you think Tom York's seen Johnny's Ons Martineau?" Yeah, has Phil Selway seen Johnny's Ons Martineau? No, he keeps it zipped away, keeps it locked away, his Ons Martineau. He only lets, but I've heard it's true that Jonny Greenwood, he only lets special people touch his, he doesn't let everyone
Touches his arms.
Jonny Greenwood doesn't let, oh yeah, that's brilliant. You don't have to even say Ons Martineau. You see, this is why I love working with Lottie. Often I have an idea and then Lottie refines it, and it's very, very pleasant. Jonny Greenwood doesn't just show anyone his Ons. Oh, Jonny, he's always playing with his Ons, isn't he? Oh. Have you heard about him? He's got an Ons. If you haven't gathered already, listeners, Jonny Greenwood from Radiohead as well has a right to defend itself. He's got an Ons Martineau, one of the only ones in the world. I haven't got an Ons Martineau, so no one can make those kind of
Why don't they
euphemisms
just make
about me.
more?
Yeah, why didn't they just make more ons? So then, like, Jonny Greenwood wouldn't be like, I've got one of the only ons. And he wouldn't keep going on about wanting to show everyone his ons, would he? What was the name of the producer? Was it Nigel Godrich?
Yeah.
Nigel Godrich. You go up to Nigel Godrich and you say, Nigel, tell me something about your time working with Radiohead. And Nigel Godrich says, well, I'll tell you something. Jonny showed me his ons. That's what it's like. So, dear listener, would you like to hear the song about giving Jonny Greenwood a lovely wash, scrub, pamper session, maybe a bit of oiling?
Scrub Jonny Greenwood, steam on skin, wet white tank top clinging thin, soap on the collarbone, slow and glide, bathroom heat with the door shut tight. Jonny Greenwood, slick and warm, bubble bath body in perfect form. Jonny Greenwood, shine and sway, loofah love in the vapour haze. Jonny leaned back in the porcelain throne, water running down that pipple chair slow, lavender foam on the sharp cut hips, mint all gloss on the soft pink lips, hands full of soap and the sponge pressed flat, tracing little circles across his back, steam made halos from bathroom light, everything wet and silver light. Jonny Greenwood with a shampoo stare, fingers combing slowly through his hair, towel hanging on narrow waist, whole room thick with a citrus taste, washcloth sliding, long slim thighs, half-lit of dreamy exhausted eyes, bathwater rippling around that frame, every little motion driving me insane. Scrub Jonny Greenwood, seam on skin, wet white tank, clinging thin, soap on the collarbone, slow hang glide, bathroom heat with the door shut tight. Jonny Greenwood, slick and warm, bob bath body in perfect form. Jonny Greenwood, shine and sway, loofah love in the vapour haze. Yeah. Coconut body, oil catch light, sliding down shoulders, shining bright. Jonny laughed low while the warm spray hit, fogged up mirror, candlelit drip, fresh shave smooth and delicate jaw, tower up slow till the whole room thawed, eucalyptus breath, humid air, wet skin gleaming everywhere, bubble bath overflowing on the tile, Jonny Greenwood giving that smile, robe half open, chest still wet, cleanest man I ever met. Soft hands, warm steam, peppermint sheen, bathroom glowing neon green. Every scrub stroke making sparks take whim. Bath time prince, art rock king. Yeah, give it up. Come on! Scrub Jonny Greenwood, steam on skin, wet white tank top clinging thin, soap on the collarbone, slow hang glide, bathroom heat with the door shut tight. Slick and warm, perfect form, shine and sway, vapour haze, steam on skin, clinging thin. Scrub. Check me out, man. Check me out, man. Yo, it's Michael Ball in the marble suite. Bubble bath king with the soft white feet. Candles all lit, steam thick in the air. Got Michael Ball reclining like a billionaire bear. I'm scrubbing that back with a lavender sponge. West End legend getting cleaned up proper, son. Rinse, rinse, rinse with the gold tap flow. Michael Ball glowing with theatrical glow. Pat that towel with attentive grace. Tiny little smile on Michael's face. Then the talc comes out. Poof, what a sight. Powder clouds drifting through the candle light. Pat, pat, pat till the button bone dry. Michael Ball giggling, cold blood in my. Then the body oil, sandalwood splash. Now Michael Ball shining like $1 million in cash. Sliding round the mansion, slippery soul, like a sexy little crumpet, out of control. Then I flip the bongos on the royal rear view. Bap, 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 with a tropical groove. Michael Ball, fresh and clean, standing proud and tall. Oil on the test, talc on the bum, bongo on the bottom, go bum 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 bum. Michael Ball steaming the suite by the disco wall, Scrubbed and moisturized head to toe. Now let that beautiful bottom solo go. Now the neighbors hear the percussion line echo through the hedges of the Ball estate fine. Michael Ball dancing, setting robe loose, smelling like cedar and expensive moose. I'm keeping the rhythm with professional care. Bongo beats bouncing through the moisturizer. Candles flicker while the bongos roll. Michael Ball vibing at a spiritual level. Michael Ball, luxury lifestyle, answer the call. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, come on. Give it up. Yeah, come on. Give it up for Michael Ball's bongos on his bottom. Yeah, come on. Here it comes. Give it up. Yeah, Michael Ball in a the bubble bath, king of the steam, lavender soap, make the home gleam. Scrub him down gentle with the sponge and the foam. Michael Ball chilling like him king pon the throne. Talc pon the bottom and the towel go pat. Whole West End knows say the ball love that. Oil upon the shoulders make the skin them shine. Michael Ball glowing like expensive wine. Bongo upon the backside, brap brap boom. Echo through the mansion all around the room. Candle them flicker while the bassline roll. Michael Ball vibing with the moisturized soul. Fresh to the max and him rope hang loose. Sandalwood scent and expensive juice. Michael Ball slide across the hardwood floor, yelling wheel it up and demanding more. Michael Ball, bubble bath dawn, steam in the suite from dusk till dawn. Pat that towel and rub that oil. Bung up on the bumper, make the whole place boil. Michael Ball, bubble bath dawn, steam in the suite from dusk till dawn. Pat that towel, rub that oil. Bung up on the bumper, make the whole place boil. Yeah, give it up for Michael Ball. Michael Ball. Huh? What about that?
I'm blown away.
Did you like that?
Absolutely blown away.
Yeah. See, AI. It's amazing.
There you go. One of two recent amazing music.
I mean, it's amazing.
Rap-a-bap-baps. Bap-a-bap-bap.
Ball.
About giving male celebrities a lovely wash and pamper session. I've done quite a few of them. They're a lot of fun to talk about. I've done one about giving Mulder from the X-Files a lovely wash, and one which if Ems is listening, our friend Ems, I would like you to know, Ems, that there is indeed one about giving a lovely wash and pamper session, and I think an oiling up as well to David Boreanaz, star of Angel and Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer and other things, I'm sure, but they're all about the military, and I don't really care.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he's amazing.
But
what
my idea for these pampering sessions for male celebrities, and I'm including sound technician Chris in these lists of male celebrities. It's not me doing the pampering sessions. It would be someone else who likes touching people.
Yeah.
No. But these pampering sessions for male celebrities, what it is you book a lovely mansion, right? Mm-hmm. A lovely mansion it has to have spotless, impeccable, shiny floors. None of that carpet nonsense. None of that shag nonsense, especially that. But just lovely, crisp, smooth, shiny, beautifully polished floors. Polished, that was the word I was looking for. And then you get your male celebrity. It could be, say, to name one who deserves a good pampering, Richard Hammond. Say it's Richard Hammond. Yeah. You book your mansion with the lovely shiny floors, and then you give Richard Hammond a nice, lovely bubble bath, right, with like rose petals on the bubbles.
Oh, I'd like that.
And like
in American Beauty.
Exactly, and like an oil burner burning some kind of, I would say like a lavender kind of scent, soft mood lighting, some maybe even a bit of music. I don't know, but if there isn't music, you can of course sing to your male celebrity who you're currently giving the pampering session to. The bath time involves scrubbing, okay? Lots of dense, hard scrubbing on those manly backs with a loofah. A loofah. Scrub, 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 scrub. Really hard. Scrub, scrub, scrub. So they're lovely and clean,
You know
okay?
what?
And
With loafers, right, just sort of as a side point, I always thought they were some sort of like deep sea animal, and then I found out it's like a courgette, and you can grow them.
Yeah.
You can eat it.
yeah, well,
I
I'm
was
glad
always
it's not an
afraid-
animal.
I was always so afraid of the loofah.
I'm glad it's
there
not
was
an
one
animal.
in the bathroom, and I didn't know what it was. I couldn't tell where his eyes were. It turns out it's not an animal; it's a vegetable.
Wow.
Is it like a fruit or?
Well, like you say,
What
if it's a
constitutes- I
courgette,
can't remember anymore.
no. But so you've
Yeah,
got
sorry, loofah.
you've got Richard Hammond in the bathtub, right? You've given him a good scrub, right? And then the next thing you've got to do is you've got to give him a nice rinse. Okay, you got to rinse him off. You can do that with a jug, or you might have a shower head, and then you just rinse all those bubbles off. Get him to lift his arms up, get those bubbles off under the armpits, and then you've got to dry him off. Okay, dry him off. Give him a good scrub with the towel like this, and then after that, talc him down. That's it.
Oh, you don't
Pat him down.
Talc's got asbestos in it, apparently.
Oh yeah, but men
Flour.
men can
I
deal
don't
with
know.
asbestos.
Oh yeah, they're
Cool
made of
guys,
asbestos,
especially
aren't
Masons.
they?
Yeah. So you give him a nice talc pat on his shoulders, a little bit on the back of the ears, because he doesn't want to get if he gets wet behind the back of the ears, he might start to get a bit sore behind there. You don't want that, and so you talc him
wear
everywhere.
glasses.
You even frankly, I'm going to say it, you have to talc him on the bottom as well. Talc, pat.
I don't want to.
Bap. No, you don't have to do it. This is the advertisement for the job for the person who's gonna do all the bap. You can play a little bit of drums on his bottom as well if you like, and he'll giggle while you're doing it. It'll be wonderful. And after that, going back to now, why would you think, Lottie, that it would need to be in a lovely Airbnb mansion that we've booked with lovely polished floors? And sound technician Chris, bear in mind, because you are also a male celebrity, once we have someone ready to administer these treatments in the mansion, then you can have also a lovely bubble bath, back scrub, rinse, dry, and talc. Okay, sound technician Chris, all of this can be yours because you're a male celebrity too. But that's not the end of it. No. Let's go back to that floor, that lovely, impeccably shiny floor. Because what male celebrities like to do best? Well, they like, after they've had a lovely bubble bath with rose petals, a loofah scrubbing, a lovely rinse, and then a full body talking, even including the tender parts. Then you got to oil them. You got to oil them up. You gotta just scrub and oil them up, rub it in, but you've got to make sure that there's that it's over the full body, that the whole body, even those tender parts, are completely covered in the oil, because otherwise the climax of the celebrity pamper session will not come. Because what, and you know this, sound technician Chris, what male celebrities like to do best is slide around. And that's what they do. After they've had a bubble bath, a lovely scrub, a nice rinse,
No one can catch you if you.
a talc, and then an oil up.
No one can get you.
Then they go for a slide
That's
around.
how I'm gonna get away.
They go for a slip about, and nobody can catch you. Can you imagine? Can you imagine the average masseuse trying to keep up with let's say a slippery Tom Cruise sliding vroom, like a bullet across that mansion floor?
He does do all his own stunts.
He does do all his own stunts, so they could never catch him. So, I mean, if sound technician Chris was naked and oiled up, do you think I could catch him if he was slithering across the floor? I don't think I could. So, Chris, all this and more can be yours. We just need to find the person who would like to do the celebrity rub down, pamper, bath time sessions. But once we found them, and consider this a call out on air. Once we found those people, then this can happen, Chris. This can happen. Which is all a very nice distraction from the fact that it seems, from what we can gather of the news, now we live in a society where the news does not constitute the truth by any stretch anymore, which is not conspiracy theory conspiratorial, because, well, frankly, the news would have been more thoroughly covering what's been going on in the Gaza Strip. So that suggests that the entire media is compromised. But what we seem to glean from looking at a cross-section of the internet is that violence, racist violence, is erupting all over the country. Don't be a stupid racist. The people responsible for your problems are, for the most part, white, rich men. For the most part. And as we know from the Epstein files, they engage in very unsavory practices, not just in the business sense, but in the life sense.
Yeah, but I don't think any of the people doing the rioting are like, oh, I think this is causing my problems. They just want to go and be a racist. Because, like, you know what I mean? A lot of these, like, whatever riot-y things, people are travelling from all over the place to get there. And, like, I can't afford the train. So, obviously, you've got to have, like, a baseline income to be able to have that sort of, like, disposable income to go and basically wear a flag somewhere and scream at other people.
But we have to also say that
I don't think they're like, you know what I mean, this country's pretty sort of high up in the world.
But these people are not the brightest of sparks, and they live in a country where there is pretty much no hope for anyone. Even people who go and get a degree, then get a master's degree. There's loads of articles saying, well, there's no job in society that I can do because society seems to have destroyed every single job and devalued every skilled or intellect-based job to not existing whatsoever. So there is a reason that people are angry, but the last few years have shown me and have shocked me at how susceptible to propaganda people are, and how over and over and over again they will do precisely what the man tells them to do, whilst they say they are fighting against the man. So the idea that Nigel Farage is somehow an anti-establishment figure, he's not. He's an establishment figure. Isn't he a banker?
He wears a suit all the time.
He's an establishment figure.
And he gets
he's probably one of them Masons as well, isn't he?
It's just he doesn't look man of the people at all.
No, nor did Hitler.
At all. I don't really understand what anyone's on about, really. They just look like rich guy in a suit.
He looks like a rich guy in a suit. But all you've got to do in this country to convince the people that you're a man of the people is hold a pint. That's it. If you hold a pint, you're a man of the people. Well, I've held many pints in my life. Not anymore. I don't like the devil's wee-wee no more. But I've held many pints in my life, and I got to tell you, I'm not a man of these people, of this society. In fact, I'm pretty sickened and revolted by this society, which many people find unreasonable. I give you the Gaza Holocaust, the Epstein files.
The planet's on fire.
The planet is on fire.
Like horrible, heinous sex crimes.
Where is the widespread moral outrage and disgust? Is it just that the people don't have it in them? Is it just that they don't care? All the members of my family who have fallen out with me for reasons that they've drawn out into complexity, but they
actually specify.
No, they initially fell out with me because I was working with Palestinian people, and accused me of being a sympathizer of Islamic extremists. And if you attempt to have any kind of nuanced conversation where you point out statistics like by a vast percentage, the main victims of Islamic extremism are other Muslims in the Islamic world, because you see, the Islamic extremist is not your normal everyday. Islam is a vast, rich culture that spans many different iterations, but saying a Muslim is an Islamic terrorist is like saying that everyone, let's put it this way, like saying that everyone who is I don't know, was Jeffrey Dahmer Christian or was he secular? Anyway, regardless, if Jeffrey Dahmer had no religious belief, this would then be saying that all people with no religious belief are murderers. No. In fact, that's not even the best parallel. A better parallel would say to say someone like Hitler, an extremely right-wing minded person. Although now people like Elon Musk are trying to say Hitler was left-wing, which is an amazing misunderstanding of what's going on there. They called themselves the National Socialist Party. Of course it's deliberate, but they called themselves the National Socialist Party as a subversion of socialism. In the way that they subverted and perverted other things like the swastika shape, which I was being told, Ruben Lenkowitz told me the other day, that the swastika shape is a representation of an Ouroboros. Which I never realised, but it's meant to be the snake eating its own tail, or a series of snakes eating their own tail. So a representation of infinity, etc., etc. And of course, in the world of Hinduism, in India, people still use the symbol. Yeah. It's not associated at all with what the stupid, fat Europeans, fat, gammon, bigoted, racist, rich Europeans did with it. What was the... Patrice used a term the other day to describe how people are regarded by the society. Can you remember what that was?
We were just. I think we were talking about just the disposability of human existence.
Yeah.
As the default.
Yeah. That everybody is disposable.
But everything as well.
And
every single thing can be eaten up on this planet.
And the people who live in certain parts of Africa, they live every day knowing that everything they're doing is so white people can have a new phone, and they know that their life is disposable. So consequently, they know that they're working in a system where the product that's being made is more important than the sanctity and the existence of their life.
And it's been like that in every industry.
And you ask me why I hate capitalism.
Yeah, I mean, I stopped where
When
when
you
I
don't, of course.
when I didn't ever really buy clothes, but I stopped buying them from shops when I was quite a bit younger, like I don't know, 16 or something. Like unless I absolutely have to, and there's no way of getting any pants or something, I tend to not. I've never bought, like, unless I've absolutely had to, a thing that's made by dodgy slave labour and stuff. Like it's just disgusting. I don't understand why we can't have like a supply chain without suffering in it, and the response to it in this country is very much like the thing we were talking about earlier with like European friends of mine saying the difference between like America and England is in America people would actually say, oh, that sounds interesting if you said you wanted to write a novel, but here everyone would scream in your face. And it's kind of like we live in a country that has this extreme sort of Billy Elliot's parents thing. As in, like, anything that's expressive, anything that they've kind of, the kind of really angry sort of patriarch majority thing have said is like, well, no, that sounds like art. What are you doing that for? Like, sort of thing. It's always been like that. Of like, well, it's basically like a kind of extension of saying, well, that's for girls. And it's like the whole culture sort of does that with anything that isn't like actively attacking and blowing things up.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's not what to say.
Well,
It's not exactly a
I've
fun way
taken
to
some
live, is it?
lovely photographs of you. I think it's time, as we head to the last 20 minutes of the programme, do you know where the Casio is?
No.
Well, I'm going to get it. You hold the line.
Oh, I
Keep
can
them in.
do this.
I found
Oh,
it.
it's like that thing that happened the other day where I was speaking and I couldn't think of anything particular to say because suddenly you are told that you should speak and then you have to think about thinking and everything. And we were watching Wayne's World and I realised that I'm goth.
Yeah!
I'm goth. All that bloke from the local government.
Yeah! Snappy music, 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 snappy music. Yes, that's right.
Oh, is it snappy music?
It's snappy music time. There is a thread through music history that can be defined as the cosmic thread of snappy music. The principles of snappy music. I'm here looking at a chart, a graph, about the history of snappy music. The principles of snappy music could be defined as you get to the good bit quickly, you deliver something memorable, and you keep that listener smiling. You don't keep the listener waiting. Now, snappy music began with the dramatic immediacy of Monteverdi and the bold tunes and big gestures of George Frederick Handel between 1600 and 1700. This was regarded as the proto-snap period. This took multiple branches, but in a purely chronological level, we have to look at examples like the Brandenburg concertos of Johann Sebastian Bach. And so on, to look at the Brandenburg concertos of Bach, to see what we would call Baroque snap, concise ideas, relentless invention, and high-level contrapuntal snap. At the other end of the spectrum, we see snappy music in the works of Haydn through the wit, invention, and examples such as his Toy Symphony. As a teacher of Mozart, of course, we will trace the inevitable snap from Haydn down to a little bit of eine kleine Nachtmusik, a little bit of eine kleine Nachtmusik. Influenced, of course, by his teacher, Joseph Haydn, but further towards the west of Europe, we find the relentless momentum and catchy tunes of snappy music composer Giacomo Rossini.
I mean, that one is particularly
That's well snappy.
yeah.
Extreme high levels of snap. As we head into the 20th century, snappy music becomes all-encompassing, and there are really too many examples to make one specific example. But in the world of pop music, we can look at the easy listening works of Bert Kaempfert and his hook first orchestration, James Last, Burt Bacharach, and Herb Alpert, and the Tijuana Brass. Brass? No brass.
I mean, that's really snappy. You know, you get like sugar snap peas.
Yeah.
They are snap peas.
They
aren't
are
It's
snap
very-
peas.
It's really.
They make a really good,
Snap.
really good snappy sound. Now you see on my chart, somehow it traces a line, an independent line between George Frederick Handel and the works in the early 20th century incorporating cartoon logic, compression of ideas, and of Raymond Scott, but also the light orchestral wit of composers by Leroy Anderson. Raymond Scott, you will know through no, this.
That's all.
The work of Raymond Scott, freeing as it did the palette of music to include again in the 20th century quirk and novelty, led into the kind of wonderful stereophonic sound arrangements of figures like Esquivel, which figured into the wonderful world of TV, advert and library music from the 1950s to the present, which relies on snappiness in order to make an impression. Now, as we look towards the north of Europe at this period,
Snap. 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 Snap.
you get ABBA with their perfect pop craftsmanship
But not ABBA with a small G.
and hooks you can't escape. No, not ABBA with a small G. I'm not sure. Is GABA snappy? I'm not sure it is snappy. It's something
No.
different. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not snappy.
Not everything has to be snappy.
No. But then, in the as a branch across from well, no, let's not follow that branch right now. We'll go just down from ABBA to Max Martin and the Swedish School with their industrial strength hooks and the science of pop. As we follow the chart again over to the left and return to Bert Kaempfert, James Last, Burt Bacharach. What did Burt Bacharach write?
If you sing it walking down the street,
Didn't
I don't
he
think that's
write?
snappy though.
Did
Oh yeah, that one's pretty snappy.
Yeah, that's snappy. So you trace the line down from there, and you get late 1990s, early 2000s hook density from British performers such as S Club 7, Steps, Hearsay, and the general British pop school.
Snap.
No, no. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic.
Is that snappy, do you reckon?
That's not snappy. No national anthem is snappy.
Yeah, right, it really isn't.
But at the same time as S Club, Steps, he's in the British pop school over the Atlantic, you had Britney.
I mean, she's well snappy.
You had Britney, NSYNC,
NSYNC.
the Backstreet Boys, Katy Perry, and the military industrial pop machine. Meanwhile, along the chart to the left of ABBA and below TV and library music, branching from both, you have the rhythmic immediacy of the band who even took the name. Snap. They called themselves Snap after snappy music, which led to, for example, acts like Two Unlimited, Culture Beat, Ace of Base, and others. The beat arrives first, then the hook, filtering down to internet and TikTok era where they only use 15 seconds to win appeal. So if your music's going to be snappy, it's going to have to be super snappy. Now the chart gives me experimental and high density snap from the 2000s to present, naming names like Lewis Cole, Noah, Wolf Peck, don't know who that is, They Might Be Giants.
They're snappy.
And they are really snappy.
They are.
And also, oh, okay. And Bruno Mars. Uptown Funk. Bruno Mars, current possible world leader of snappy
Snap.
music. It has some other names for me down here. Today's snappy architects behind the scenes: Max Martin, Shellback Circuit, Dan Nigro, Jack Antonoff, and many more. It says here that there is also an eternal principle of snappy music, which is ideas should arrive quickly, Delight should arrive often. The listener should never be bored, and that's true. So, like, if you're gonna make a piece of snappy music, start with a positive key, a positive upbeat key. Perform like a silly singer like me. Go to an obvious chord. I know it might make you bored, but if you're a composer like me, you like a snappy melody. Snappy melody.
I have clinical depression. Does that mean that I can be snappy?
Yeah, of course you can be
I've
snappy.
written some snappy melodies.
You have written plenty snappy
I suppose
melodies.
you can be snappy and be clinically depressed.
Of course you can. Of course you can.
I mean, everyone spreads the rumour that if you're clinically depressed, apparently means you're going to snap, which it really doesn't. It means that you're going to cry.
Apparently,
Or just stare at the wall.
apparently, James Last, when he's not on stage, playing that snappy music, he's very dour.
Oh, is he?
Very
Well,
depressed.
So oh, yeah, well, fair enough. Same with Miyazaki.
Melancholy.
Miyazaki, he's depressed.
But
I think.
who else? No, but
Well, he's sort of like... Huh?
but Miyazaki doesn't make snappy music.
He makes snappy films.
Yeah, and they are
Some
quite
of the films
snappy.
have got
his
snappy
films.
music
But
in them.
snappy cinema's a whole
There's
other.
that one that goes like...
Oh, that one's really snappy. That's a snappy waltz. Oh, but of course there is snappy waltz. Wait, what? Hang on. Oh my. What?
I mean, that's quite snappy.
That is quite snappy, but I just realised something. Oh, I got some lovely pictures of you there in your amazing outfit. You're going to be shocked by this.
Yeah?
Do you know who it didn't include in its list of snappy, in its chronology of snappy music?
Who?
The Waltz King.
I was thinking about Waltzing Waters, actually.
Where's
whether
the
that was
Waltz
snappy.
King?
And whether it was snappy. I think it is snappy.
Oh, it's Snappy Entertainment. The Waltz King.
Snap.
Snap!
Snap.
The Waltz King, and the Waltz King also did like. Oh no. Oh, wait a minute, how does it go? I'm getting mixed up with Jacques Tati music. Ah, wait. How snappy is that?
Yeah, it's well snappy. It's
Pizzicato
not in three
polka.
anymore, but maybe if you take them all out of three, it'll be more snappy.
Oh, but this is his Pizzicato polka, you see.
Alright. Is it?
It's
Wow.
well snappy.
I mean, yeah, it is really snappy. That's snappy. Snap. 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 Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Snap.
So I'm really sorry that my history of snappy music failed to refer to the Waltz King, Johann Strauss II. I'm not dissing Johann Strauss I, of course, but we all know who the true king of waltz is, don't we, Lottie? And an expert exponent of snappy music. So as we enter the last couple of minutes of today's program, I would like to say thank you for listening, and I would also like to say if you live in a system where the government consistently break international laws and the people in charge are known for really horrifically breaking laws, then you don't have to conform to this system anymore. You shouldn't pay your taxes. Now, why should you pay your taxes to a government that's aided and abetted a live 4K, the most the most documented genocide in history. And I'm not going to listen to any people going da da ba da da about like
I mean, not,
saying it isn't happening because
we're past that now. Grow
yeah,
up.
yeah. Grow up, and if you are already a grown up, hello. And I got one question to ask you, dear grown up listeners. Do you know anyone who'd be up for coming to some mansions and giving some male celebrities a nice bubble bath,
Clay mask
sponge?
thing.
Oh, I forgot about those things.
Yeah.
Face masks as well. Sponge, talc, and then oil up so they can slip about on the floor. If you or anyone else is interested, get in touch. You got anything else to add, Lottie?
Keep it snappy. Yeah,
On!